this anxiety, and then I don't know if it was anxiety or fear, but then there was like a sense of resistance, because the thought that came through my mind is like these things that I'm letting go on some level have kept me safe.
Yes.
And what am I trading them for?
Yes.
And so I think that was the source for me, was they've been my friend for a long time.
They have.
And given what I'm up to in the world, it doesn't serve me anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I'm not sure what the trade-in is.
Yeah.
Right.
Unknown, yeah.
The unknown. The unknown, absolutely. And, you know, fear...
It's not just the unknown, though. It's the new behavior. It's
Yes.
not knowing what that new behavior would look like, or it's not just a vast unknown. It's just, okay, so what would I do? Like,
Right.
How would I...
How do I step into this? How do I step into
Yeah,
the next...
like, how do I give up something for nothing?
Right.
At least I know what to do, even though it's dysfunctional. I know what to do,
So
I know
what's the
how
next step, and how do I step into it, and how is it going to feel when I change? You know, when I hear some speakers talk about the fear of success, sometimes, you know, the fear of success is around, if I have this success, you know, if I have this success and my life changes, what's going to happen to the relationships I currently have?
I was going to say, it's also
Because-
membership, you know, like...
Because there are going to be some people that are going to feel threatened by it. There are going to be some people who aren't going to like it. Or I'm not going to fit in with that group or those relationships anymore because I've changed and I'm a different person now. And so sometimes people sabotage themselves in that way. That happens too, I've heard, with, you know, weight loss. Sometimes people sabotage themselves as they're working to get healthier because of this fear of, if I change this much, my partner's not going to love me anymore, or it's going to change our relationship, and I know I may need to leave the marriage. You know, maybe the marriage is dysfunctional,
Or I may actually get what I want.
or I may actually get what I want. Which
And
can
then
be,
what?
And
Like
then
Marianne
what?
Williams said, we fear our greatness. You
We
know?
fear our greatness.
I might experience people actually loving me, and I don't know what to do with
Yeah.
that.
Exactly,
You know,
and receiving.
Or attention, or intimacy with my husband, or it could be so many things that I've been holding on to, and it's like I said, it's kind of kept you safe, and it's now suddenly it's like, okay, wait, whoa, you know.
And that's what fear does. You know, fear is ego driven, and the ego, I mean, it has its purpose. Part of it is to protect us. So, but it's also to keep us stuck. You know, it's to keep us stuck, and so the fear tells us these stories. You know, well, you're not good enough to do that, or who am I? You know, who am I to speak my truth? Who am I to really come from a place of authenticity and speak my truth? What if people don't like that? What if people don't like me for that? My daughter, I love my daughter. I have a 14-year-old, and she is such a pip, let me tell you. And she is also a very old soul. This child, Kathleen knows her. Actually, Kathleen was part of bringing her into the world. And
Perfect time.
she has a lot of wisdom, yeah. So the other day, Cassidy got a new iPhone, new to her iPhone. We got it on eBay. And so she was so excited because she had been using an old BlackBerry of mine, which was, oh God forbid, you know, she couldn't get on Instagram or whatever. So she gets the iPhone and she's like just beyond happy. So she's putting the ringtones on. So the ringtone she puts on for me is like, it sounds like something from like My Favorite Martian. Or if, you know, I think most of us are old enough to remember that show.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's like, woo, were talking
Yeah,
about because, you know, Mom, you're so weird. And I'm like, thank you. I have, accepted that about myself. And I love you, too. I love you, too. And that's a safe place, because she's my daughter. But sometimes we do stay in that because, we feel like if and when we speak our truth, and we come out and authentically talk about what we believe in, and what we know to be true for ourselves, how are we going to be received? And that can be scary. That can be very scary. And yet, so when we come from that place of love, and understanding that when we do value ourselves, and know that that truth is coming from divine, our divine source, that will always be supported. Maybe there'll be some transition. And well, that was really appropriate. I love that. And yet, that's helping us to shift into a greater place. And it helps us also to let go of those things that we need to let go of. Because sometimes some of those relationships really aren't serving us. And we want to hang on to them. I can tell you one thing about myself. One of my biggest lessons in this lifetime has been to learn how to let go. Because boy, do I have a hard time with that. Man, I want to hang on. That's why I hung on to my marriage for as long as I did.
That's why I got this card.
Right. Because I just, I've hung on to relationships and jobs and so much in my life that no longer served me. Because I was so afraid of the what's next. What now? How do I move into that and feel supported? So, that can be a major process for us. And yet when we always can come back into ourselves and into a place of love, we are always supported. Think about times in your life where you took that scary step, and then the resources and the people and everything showed up. Kathleen, you can probably talk about that a lot with the birth center. I know you went through some major challenges, had some major obstacles, and then last night you said we're busier than we've ever been, which is,
It was a big, scary journey in the beginning. Because you don't know what's out there. The only thing you know is this is what I need to do.
Yeah.
And you have to have the faith. That's the only thing you know. You know nothing else. I mean, what the endpoint's going to be. I mean, you have to figure out how to do it and all that stuff. That's not, the nuts and bolts, you figure it out. But the unknown is what's on the other end of it.
Yeah.
But the journey's always fun.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Yeah. And look at the wonderful, beautiful creation that has come from that vision, and you stepping forth and having the courage to do that in the face of many obstacles.
Perfect for the breast center creation.
Yes.
And I have created a whole bunch of little bosses. And the dynamics of the center was always, I'm not a boss. And so everybody does such a great job because they create their own things and it harmonizes so well together. It's one of the biggest things I'm proud of, besides my babies.
So, that's a beautiful example of doing that. It really is. So any other ahas, awarenesses? Anybody want to share anything else as we move forward? Okay.
I do want to share just one thing.
Yes.
I think
that, I mean, I've done this process before of, you know, writing and burning and letting go, and then it's all feel good like right now, but it's not sustainable. At least I don't feel as though it's sustained because it's a pattern that shows up again this year. So I guess what I'm feeling is, yeah, it felt great, it felt wonderful. Yeah, I'm not just sure if I'm going to show up here again next year with the same issues. No, really.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
and that's truly when I keep, even as I look through my journal, because I sat down, you know, on New Year's Eve, I even sent a process to a couple folks, you know, that I got from a coach that I've worked with. And I really did this whole process and have one theme for the year, and you know, it's all like nice, but I'm not sure that it's really like I think it is, but then it doesn't have teeth or legs, or and then boom, I'm in the middle of it again. Boom, right there, I'm in it.
What would it look like if it had teeth or legs?
Right. How would that feel?
That's what I would
It just-
journal about. That's what I would write about. What would it look like if it had teeth or legs?
Yeah. Who would you be without that thought?
Well, right, that's just it. So the thoughts kind of come in, and I mean, it's almost as if I would like to start treating them as just thoughts rather than actionable. Like,
Right.
okay, so I react to the thought, right?
So if you can go from that place of recognizing that it's
Right.
just a thought
Right.
and saying, okay, who would I be without this thought? And then look at that outcome. That's where you can shift and give it teeth and legs so that it doesn't have power over you anymore, because you're still giving it power.
Right.
Well, but I would offer that there may be a desire to have some, seeking some new tools. So it may not be just a thought to cast away, but a thought to pursue in search of new and different tools. So, but what exactly those tools are going to empower you to do might be good for the journal. Part of the teeth and legs.
It's kind of like what Mercedes said, like how to do it, you know. So,
And I think the only thing I would add to that, Emma, would be the idea that the only way you can give it power is if you cultivate the witness, to witness yourself at the moment
Yes.
that you're going to do it, and then powerfully choose. Otherwise, you're in an automatic,
Response,
habituated response. So when we talk about journaling, that's the power of journaling, is cultivating the witness. It's going from subject to object and being able to see yourself in the moment, to actually have choice of, am I going to give this power or am I not? And until then, you have no choice.
but it's seeing that in that moment, and it's not coming from a place
And
of
the-
unconsciousness,
right.
right?
And so, and
Right.
to track that habit, usually the way you track a habit like that, or that response thing that you're talking about, is the first time, the realization you did it again comes 3 hours after you did it.
Right.
But the more you cultivate the witness around, what is that? What's this? What, you know, it's like your brain sees something, and then it tells your body to feel something. And so once you begin to track the somatic response, the feeling of it, the what you're saying about it, and you're able to catch right at that moment, that's where choice comes. That's the moment of choice of, do I want to do it, or do I not want to do it?
When you feel hooked.
It's
you know,
that
and then you
trigger.
feel
Right,
hooked.
it's the
I'm
right,
hooked.
right,
That
right.
trigger.
I'm experiencing
And
that
it
hook.
looks
I
like
get
a
it.
dog on a bone. That's how you know
Right.
you're triggered.
Yeah.
Like when you're like a dog on a bone, you won't let it go.
Yeah, and you're consciously aware of it. You become consciously.
But I agree. I mean, and I think that when we're triggered, we're not even responding to what's happening in front of us. We're responding to something that happened to us way back then.
Yes.
And that's when I said, it's the stuff that kept me safe. And
Right.
I'm experiencing this moment as, oh my God, fight or flight. Got to keep myself safe. And I'm in those moments still trying to just notice. It's a really, I mean, to cultivate that when it's a really kind of a radical new way of being in the story of evolution. We've never really done that, really witnessed ourselves. So.
Yeah.
And
Well,
it's
I think it
also
comes
about being in the moment.
so
And that's something we're not used to doing.
Right.
Precisely.
We don't
Right.
know how to do that. It's either we're in the past thinking about what happened, or we're in the future thinking about what's going to happen, but being here now,
Really
Mhm.
staying in the present, really staying in what is. And when we're in that place of fear or anxiety, if we can come into that place of what is in this very moment and stay with it, even if it's just for a few seconds.
And when you say stay with it, you're talking about actually staying with that fear, is actually
Just
feeling
staying,
it. Yeah.
feeling it and staying in the moment
Yeah.
acknowledging
and
it. really.
acknowledging
Yeah.
it and being present.
And that's why I think
to it.
meditation comes in, don't you think?
Yeah,
That's how you learn to
absolutely.
build that muscle, to become that observer.
Mhm.
Because in beginning meditation, the thoughts come up and you think, oh, that's a thought, that's interesting, it passes. So that reaction is a thought too.
Right.
But if your level of consciousness is not at that meditative form, it reacts quicker. You know what I mean?
Right.
Mhm.
Right. Totally makes sense.
And you know,
Sometimes
you
they're
just
there, sometimes
talked
they're not.
about that,
That's true.
the radical shift, you know, that evolution. And my personal theme for this year, I was meditating, this came to me, is to be free and to have a personal revolution. A personal revolution. Because when we shift, we have to shift before we can evolve. We have to shift before we can open up and allow that flow to come to us. And so for me, this is what I'm doing this year. Huge shifts for me this year. I'm really stepping into it, and it's scary, and it's exciting. And I finally have gotten to the point in my life where I'm not so scared of that. I'm still scared to take some of the action, but I know no matter what happens, I'm fully supported. I've been through the dark night of the soul. I've been in, I've done it. So now, you know, it gives me the opportunity to emerge in a greater way. You know, like Marianne Williamson talks about, we're all magnificent. We're all magnificent. And we shut that down. We minimize it. We tell ourselves we can't. We're not good enough. And it's false. It's all stories we've been told by society. And especially as women, we get so marginalized. Or when we step into our power, we're called a bitch. Excuse me? Yeah? We're magnificent beings. Each and every one of us. So, I'm learning not to be afraid of that. I'm learning. And if I can help someone along the journey, then I've done some good. So we're going to step into the next portion, which is of what's now, what's next. And I'm going to take you through the passion test so we can really gain some clarity around the 5 things that matter most to us. So as we finish out today and the rest of this weekend, you're going to be able to leave here and say, these are the 5 things that matter most to me. And I'm going to be able to move into 2014 with really great clarity around that. So I'm going to read a couple things first. I love this quote by Deepak Chopra. He talks about passion. Passion is the free flow of natural energy that leads us towards our fulfillment of dreams, desires, and purpose in life. That beautiful passion.
Can you repeat that?
Yes, I'd be happy to repeat that. Passion is the free flow of natural energy that leads us towards our fulfillment of dreams, desires, and purpose in life. Passion. Our passions come from our heart space. Do I need to read it again?
Yes.
Yes, okay. Passion is the free flow of natural energy that leads us towards our fulfillment of dreams, desires, and purpose